Very awesome. I have a fortunate opportunity to host the last panel of the day. I hope people are not sleepy. I'll start my conversation with regards to digital influence. In my view, digital influence has grown faster than any other forms of communication, but trust hasn't grown at the same pace. Audience today don't just follow creators or brands, they observe them, they analyze them. They notice pattern, consistency, and intent. Trust is built when creators feel aligned with brands, brands feel confident in their creators, and audience feel respected and informed. Today's panel brings together creators who speak the language of audience, brand leaders who balance credibility with business goals, and voices that understand culture and community. Introducing our esteemed panel next, we have Tejas Dhoke, one of India's most dynamic dance creators with massive digital following and a knack of turning choreography into viral content. Now he's taken a leap from being an influencer to entrepreneur with Dance Fit Medianis, a dance and fitness platform designed to turn everyday movement into lifestyle. So let's welcome Tejas. Next, we have Ishika Bhargava, a dancer and lifestyle influencer known for her vibrant content across dance, fashion, and makeup. Through expressive routines, everyday lifestyle movement, and brand collaborations, Ishika connects with audience in a way that feels energetic, relatable, and visual engaging. Let's welcome Ishika here. We have Khushaal Pawar, I hope I got the name right, is a content creator whose characters and stories have become part of everyday digital conversations. Known for his relatable reels, cultural sketches, Khushaal captures the nuance of real life in a way audience instantly recognize and relate with, helping him build strong trust engagement with his audience. Welcome to the panel. And from the brand side, we have Aditya Sharma, Head of Media and Digital at Piramal Consumer Healthcare. Aditya leads digital, media, and performance strategy for brands in a category where trust and credibility are extremely important. His role involves balancing consumer trust with business growth and ensuring that digital communication is both responsible and effective. Welcome, Aditya. I believe you have the hardest job on the panel. We have Suruchi Gupta next. She is the Vice President Creative Strategy at mCaffeine and HYPHEN, and the creative force behind both brands' distinctive identities. She leads design, packaging, and brand storytelling with a strong focus on driving measurable business growth. From campaigns to product packaging, every creative decision is data-led, guided by consumer insights and performance metrics to meet her real business objectives. With deep expertise in creative direction, brand strategy, and digital-first communication, Suruchi brings sharp, actionable perspective into building scalable and high-impact campaigns. Welcome, Suruchi, on your panel. We have Sirdeshpande, Director, E-com Marketing and Consumer Data at Mondelez. Ved works across digital platforms, data and e-commerce to strengthen how one of world's most well-known brand, Mondelez, connects with consumers. With upwards of 18 plus experience in the field, he brings clear view on how scale, technology and trust come together in the digital ecosystem. Welcome, sir. And finally, we have Harsh Kapadia, Chief Creative Officer at Grey India. Harsh leads creative thinking and brand storytelling for one of the leading global advertising agencies. With more than 2 decades of experience across India and global markets, he brings a strong cultural and creative perspective on how ideas shape trust and long-term brand relevance. Welcome, Harsh, and welcome our entire panel. Hope we have a wonderful discussion today. So yeah, let me start with some questions. First, Tejas. Um, from creators' point of view, what does trust with your audience look like today?
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me and having me on the panel. Hello to everybody. How are you guys doing? I'm seeing some low faces, so I just thought of cheering you up. So, in today's time, I think trust means connection, trust means conversion, and I think trust means companionship. So, in my story, in my life, I think I have had ups and downs in front of people directly. Like being on social media, what happens is we grow up in front of people. And even if we only show the positives of the life, sometimes people just sense that something is wrong with you. And during those times, I'm fortunate enough to get a message at the right time, at the right place, when somebody just comes up and says, you know, you have inspired me during this moment, and that has actually changed my life. So for me, that trust has resonated with me a lot. That connection felt real. And then, because I have two sides of it, being a performer on social media while being a dance teacher in real life, people have actually come to me in person and have said that. So I think both ways, in the digital real space as well and in real space as well, I have seen the connection happen. That converts to money also, that converts to your students also, that converts to them being consumers also. But I see it as a community and less as consumers.
Very well said. Thank you. For everybody, he just very recently got married about 2 weeks back with his dance partner. So yeah, cheers to him. For Ishika, as a creator with relatable content, how do you sense when your audience truly connects with your content? If at all they don't, what do you do?
So I think, like Tejas said, that connection comes over time. I think attention can be borrowed, but trust is built. Like you're not able to, if you're not authentic with your followers, in just talking to them. And I feel like now, if you see even on social media, you're seeing the trend of the realer the content, the more it works. Like the high production videos are doing much lower in terms of engagement compared to real just talking from the camera and just getting ready or whatever. But I think overall I've seen that the more you're able to understand what the consumers are wanting to see. I have, like he said, like we've grown up with our brand. So earlier I used to be only dance creator, but now I feel like I'm a creator. Different parts of my life come on the channel, right? I do fashion and travel. So right now, if I went to Switzerland, I've told my audience that I did this to make myself warm. Like this is what I used. Just that talking, and I see my DMs and I say that this is what we use and this is what we felt about that product that you're talking about. And I feel like that conversation and like actually replying to the comments and building that community is where I see trust going.
Well said. To Khushaal next. Your characters feel very real in everyday life. I mean, I've personally seen a lot of your content and it just is like very Mumbaikar vibe, right? And so how does like relatability help audience trust your content?
हेलो एवरीवन. तो मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि जो डेली टू डेली लाइफ में लोग होते हैं ना, उनको हम देखते हैं बट मतलब ऐसे ही बस वो हमें पेरिफेरल में होते हैं, उस पर उतना ध्यान देता नहीं है कोई. और जब मैं उनको सेम चीज़ स्क्रीन पे दिखाता हूँ तब उनको रिलेट होता है कि अरे हाँ, ये हमने ऐसा देखा हुआ है कैरेक्टर और हमारे साथ भी ऐसी सिचुएशन हुई है. तो तब जाके वो ट्रस्ट बिल्ड होता है कि सेम टाइप की चीज़ें जब वो देखते हैं. जैसे स्टेशन पे सुबह सुबह जल्दी में इडली मेंदू वड़ा खाना और वो सारी चीज़ें, मतलब वो के, और ऐसे कोई ट्रस्ट बिल्ड करने की बात नहीं है. आई एम वन ऑफ देम. तो उसमें मेरे को कुछ ज़्यादा करना नहीं पड़ता है. मतलब मुझे नहीं पता कि ऐसे टेक्निकली, जैसे भाई ने बहुत मस्त बोला, बट इतना मैंने उस पर कभी थॉट डाला नहीं है कि कैसे होता है ये, टू बी ऑनेस्ट.
No, but
बस वही है.
for people like us, जब हम लोग आपका content देखते हैं, we see like things like say आपने office party में enjoy किया and then suddenly like next day you are seeing that okay you know what I'm on PIP suddenly, right? So those are kind of content that just sticks with you, right? So yeah, well.
I think मैं कोशिश ये करता हूँ कि मैं अपनी जो ज़िंदगी है उसको और अच्छे से जीऊँ ताकि मैं वही सेम चीज़ अपने कंटेंट में ला सकूँ.
Nice.
बस ये thank you.
To Aditya, how do you gauge credibility amongst creators, especially in a sort of a crowded category which is consumer healthcare, right? How do you gauge credibility?
So now that's the currency for any influencer campaign. Credibility is something which is something as a factor you look for every creator to have it, right? So for me, influencer outreach or influencer marketing has crossed that bar of only doing reach only, right? So it is, not industry specific of a consumer healthcare. It is across all the industry. You look at the credibility. I think all the three creators have spoken about that, what trust, what credibility they bring it to their community. That is a very important aspect. And I look at much more deeper. I look at the content. I look at that, okay, what kind of shares, saves, what kind of content they are creating in which community is having a conversation with that creator. And that's where you bring that relevance that this particular creator is real to their community. They are bringing conversation which matters the most to their community, and that's where I look at the genuinity of it. So if you ask me that, okay, how credibility is important for consumer healthcare, yeah, it is a pretty much we say that lab coat are the KOLs of consumer healthcare, but I go beyond lab coat creators. I go with the genuine creators, like whether it is from lifestyle, whether it is from mothers, influencers, or fintech or whatever. Those are real people which are mattering to their community. So yeah.
Well said, well said. Suruchi, to you next. Your brands mCaffeine and HYPHEN work very closely with creators. How do you ensure that collaborations feel authentic as possible? I mean, being from the agency side, we have seen where brands want to make it like a digital ad and creators want it as organic as possible, right? So the balance is a bit challenging, right? How do you achieve it?
Thank you first of all for having us here. I'll break this question into three legs, right? When we work with creators, again, I think so trust, as doubling down on all four of them have said, comes down to authenticity, right? But for a brand, when we are working with the creator, the first thing that comes is the particular creator relevant to the brand, or probably, for the lack of my word, probably a better fit to the brand, the kind of audience that creator has, right? The kind of trust that the audience has on that particular creator, does that resonate with our brand, our audience? I think so that's the first thing that we check, right? Second, building the trust as a brand becomes very important when we are educating our consumers. As a brand, as a creator, when we collaborate, we try to put forward the best possible communication that we can give to the consumers. We are a product company, right? We have products. So we make sure that we touch down to this very point that what we are offering to the consumers. Say, for example, if I have an ad, right, and I'm collaborating with a particular creator, the audience is also looking up to that creator for something, probably to add some value to their life, right? Probably it can be entertainment, it can be education, it can be looking up to some product recommendations. So at the same time, as a brand, they look up to us for a good product which will solve their need. So tapping on that helps to create a better trust. And third is marrying the brand and the creator. So as a brand, we would love if creators share their input to us, ki, we agree this is what your product is, but this is what works on our page. So as a brand, I think so collaboratively that builds trust better.
Nice, well said.
Thank you.
To Ved, how has influencer-led commerce changed the way consumers discover and choose products digitally?
It's massively changed, to be honest with you, right? So, if you look at a few years ago, a lot of our sort of discoverability was through search. Right? The intent, so it was consumer intent going to search and then discoverability. I think a lot of that has changed to discoverability, through passive attention. So we are just scrolling on, social media, and you passively, get information about products and services. I think that itself is a huge change from, how, intent-based products and services search to a more discovery-led, passive attention kind of a model, right? So, in that perspective, a lot has changed, and hence the rewiring of how products and services are getting seamlessly integrated in influencer conversations. So it's owning your consumer feed, so to speak, and once you start appearing in consumer feeds naturally, that's the best way of getting discovered, so to speak, right? And just to add, I think the whole mechanism of the model of awareness, consideration, and purchase has collapsed. I think the classical model is to build awareness, drive consideration through product features, and then at point of sale, drive some sort of nudge for the people to buy. All of that used to be a huge cycle. I think that's collapsed between a few seconds now. So you discover a product, you click on something, you go on a platform, and that's delivered in 10 minutes. So the cycle of this whole model of awareness, consideration, and purchase, and then further down loyalty, is just collapsed in 2 minutes rather than days or months. Yeah. Massive change.
It is. To Harsh, with your 2 decades of experience, why do some brand ideas stay trusted for years while others fade very quickly? From creative angle, how do you sort of create that kind of idea that just stays with the audience for very long duration?
Yeah, so I think there's a few factors. There's no one factor that causes success or failure. But I think one of the things I would say in modern days is confidence. I think when you lack that conviction or that confidence, because from the time someone presents that idea to you, the idea is bought, it going into production, to partnering with a lot of the creators, to actually going to market. If you keep changing your mind, that idea keeps going in all directions, right? And there's always, on the creative side, there's always an analogy: throw 10 balls at someone and they're going to catch none, right? You throw one, there's a chance they'll catch it, right? There's still no guarantee they'll catch it, right? And I think if the brand doesn't have conviction in what they're putting out, and different factors around them starts swaying them or starts making them nervous, I think what you originally got excited about and you bought as an idea to go out there starts losing its weight, starts losing its simplicity and power. And sometimes I think that in itself can unnerve the whole thing, right? It doesn't matter whether you get in the best creators, the best directors, the best media buy, your messaging is going to be all over the place. And I think that conviction is really important. To me, if you have that, the quote-unquote bold idea that you bought up front, it will only continue to stay bold if you don't waver. Now, I don't mean by that is leave it the way you saw it to day one. There's always room for improvement, right? But the key is improvement, and what is that improvement is always subjective, right? Sometimes your brand may have gone through something that didn't work 5 years ago. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it won't work today. Maybe it was too ahead of its time. Culture constantly changes, and I think one of the things is relevance. Now, relevance is something, again, very subjective, right? If you know, as a marketer, we always, as creative people, as marketers, we always say, it's not about relevancy to me or the brand team, it's relevancy to the consumer. And not always are we part of that audience, but for us to understand that audience is going to be really important. I mean, you said something to Khushaal about how his content is so relevant, and he talked about, well, I'm just doing what I do, right? But his audience connects with that, right? And I think brands have that same thing as well, but with another layer of being able to sell. But top of mind is going to be the most important thing. How do you stay in someone's mind so when they feel like having a chocolate or they feel like having a beer, it's your brand that they think of first? And simplicity and conviction to me are the most important things.
Very well said. Actually, I do want to follow up a little bit. So a lot of clients that I've spoken to, right, we end up, or the clients end up thinking that they are the ideal customers. And from ideation point of view, that sometimes is suicidal, right? Like, I may not be an ideal consumer for a particular brand, but I will always keep on thinking from, if I was the consumer, will I be enticed by this, right? So how do you sort of identify or remove that bias from creative thinking?
I think at the end of the day, it's what you're surrounded by. You know, if you're constantly surrounded by the things that your audience are not connected to and something else, your own taste will be shaped like that, right? So, you know, not answering your question directly, but indirectly would be when at the agency, when art directors are using stock images and then they say, oh, the client never buys good art direction. I'm like, you made them get that taste. You keep showing them horrible images in comps, and then that's what they want. Show them, like, make your comps when you're presenting ideas with the best photographers, and when they say use stock, you're going to see the difference, but you're programming the brain for someone to just like that stuff, right? So some of that taste comes from curation and being exposed to it. Like, you know, for creative people, we constantly have to be, I mean, you'll see ads, right? Like, if you just look at content and ads, if you get inspired by other ads, you're making yet just another ad. If you're inspired by other categories, other content creators and everything, then you're making something different, right? At the end of the day, you have to keep bursting your own bubble, you know, and something where you said about, you know, we went from search, where we used to be curious people to go searching for things. Today, we expect the algorithm to bring shit to us. Sorry, stuff to us, right? And when things come to us, means it's only coming to what the algorithm thinks you are interested in. It's not bursting your bubble. So if you can't stay curious, you're going to keep having those same debates of, but this is what I want. For years, I know my consumer. I know what my consumer wants. You don't. You're going to have those constant debates and those discussions. And that's where, you know, then testing comes in, and you find 5 people who will tell you why this is good and why this is not good. But you kind of start losing control of that brand conviction as well.
Yeah. Well said. Coming to Tejas again. You have recently ventured into entrepreneurship yourself with your app DanceFit. How do you manage to leverage your online presence and credibility into paying customers, right? Because that's, I think, one of the most difficult parts, even from brand point of view. So how do I convert my fans or followers into paying customers?
So my challenge, or let's say any creator's challenge, is to actually sell. Because what happens is, the moment you start saying buy this, buy that, you become a brand and you are no longer a creator. You're not sharing your journey, you are not talking about what you like, what you dislike. You're not doing your own thing, but now suddenly you want to sell something. So I have failed miserably for a very long time. So I've not recently ventured into it. It has been a long 9-year journey. But this has been the success where I think I can now call myself founder, because I was finding for a very long time and now I have somehow found a little bit of it. So the idea now is, I have actually realized to not try and sell, but to come back to the why I started doing what I do, and then sort of tell that why. For an example, I have started dancing because, not just because I like dancing and looking cool, that is obviously one of the things, but dance has done a lot to me. To my personality, it has given me confidence. To my body, it has given me postures, fitness. In my real life, I have been someone who is able to speak in front of so many people because of what I do. So I have started talking about that. And the biggest win for me was I have actually healed through dancing. I have actually gone through a mental phase where I was not doing very well. And dance was able to bring me back, or let's say not even bring me back, bring me to a better, stronger position. So from the moment I have started sharing that and showing the actual person that I am, not the very steady, strong choreographer that people used to see, I have seen a large jump of people joining my mission. Now joining my mission by paying the fees is understandable because we are running an app, we run offline studios, we do workshops, so we also have to pay the bills. And I have never seen a person coming to me and saying, Ki, why should I pay? They just want to have the trials for free. They maybe want to experience a class before they join. And most of the people that I see are hesitant. Maybe they want to do this, do that, but hesitant in a way to take it. So I think I have seen both sides, being a creator, selling somebody else's product and, being done with that one video. But now to creating our own version of service and constantly doing the promotion while not, actually making it look like a promotion. But the mission has always come to the help. And now I have many more people joining my mission. So when you actually convert, Sir rightly said, when you have the conviction to do something, when you have, actually you follow through with your values, you actually live what you preach, things will fall in place.
Nice, well said. To Ishika, what helps you build long-term trust with your audience in this rather short-term attention economy?
Yeah, I think for me, I believe that trust isn't lost by monetization. It's lost by misalignment. Like, because the audience is not opposed to brand ads and all of that. It's like if you're unauthentic, they can recognize that. Like you asked Harsh, like how do you know what the customer will like if you're not the customer? So I think like how Steve Jobs had said that in a boardroom you always leave one chair empty for the customer and like try to think from their perspective. I think for me is leaving that chair empty for my audience and thinking like I know that brand needs these things to come out, but what will my consumer like? What will my audience connect with without being inauthentic? So I'm able to like connect the two dots by saying that by being some, like if the brand needs something, I'll say some storyline of my life that they have already witnessed and they know that I am talking through my experience, and that's how I try to build trust without breaking their trust.
But then, so sorry, following up, so what about the brands that then end up saying that, okay, you know what, this is a paid content, I want the story to be exactly like this, right? So,
Yeah.
so how do you come in the middle?
No, the thing is, I also pick the brands I know that I can somehow build authentic content for. Like sometimes I would get ads about like potential brand collaborations about like medicine and all of that. But I know that my audience is not going to believe anything I say because I've never spoken about it. So I know from there I have to say no to the brands. But now if I've said yes to brands and now they're coming up with things that they want me to do, I try to like fight my way through the conversation as much as possible. And I think brands are also understanding. Like I feel like all the brand representatives here like are understanding that the responsibility of you wanting to sell versus my responsibility of me trying to be authentic with the customer or my audience has to be married. Like they've all like agreed that. So I think once the brands are starting to be open, like the collaborations are being a lot more seamless. I think when my journey like 4 years ago versus recent like 1 or 2 years ago, the brands have started like asking me for ideas, agreeing to some concepts and stuff. So I think it's getting much better.
It is getting.
Yeah.
That's true.
I just want to build on also. I think what's happening is the criteria for success and algorithms are constantly changing, right? So what happens is the creators are constantly in touch with what's working for them, right? And the brands are in touch with what's working for them. Somewhere the two need to marry. Sure, brands will keep saying they want XYZ, and creators will keep saying they won't do XYZ or they want this other XYZ. But somewhere if there's no common ground, you'll see that in the performance of that piece of work. So and some of it honestly is also a little bit of trial and error as well. I think if you keep following the same formula as well, at some point people are bored with that as well. You know, doom scrolling works because people are on autopilot, right? And the piece of work will also be doomed then. Somewhere you have to break out of that doom scrolling for someone to stop, right? And I think that's where, you know, again, I keep coming back to the algorithm. The algorithm is a really messed up word, and I think that's the job, I think, of most people here is how do you constantly break the algorithm, and the people who are in the algorithm, keep them in the algorithm, right? Like, I think that's the job, really.
But also, I feel that nowadays, or for some time now, a lot of influencer content is being used for performance and for other uses, right? And what works in a performance ad versus what works on the influencer content is different. So I have faced this issue with a lot of brands where, you know, like, okay, you know what, we want to also run ads on this. So we want the content to be like this, and yeah, I mean, just daily issues with most brands. But moving on to Khushaal. Khushaal, when brands collaborate with you, how do you keep the characters and stories feeling as real as possible and not scripted or branded? Like, just following up the question, right?
वापस पूछना एक बार क्या बोले?
So when
थोड़ा माइक आप ऊपर पकड़ो.
Sorry. So I hope I'm audible, right? Yeah. Oh. So when you collaborate with brands, how do you keep your characters and stories feel as real as possible and not scripted? Because most of your content is of that very daily Manus who is living the Bombay life, right? So then how do you make sure that it doesn't feel scripted?
So I have a lot of characters that I play. So I have office going person, I have person who is always on the street. तो ऐसे बहुत माल है अपने पास. तो कहीं ना कहीं वो फिट हो ही जाता है. मैंने एक बार एक ब्रांड एजेंसी को बोला था, बहुत हंसे थे मुझ पे वो. मैंने कहा था कि मैंने थिएटर की और एक्टिंग की और इतना कंज्यूम किया है फिल्म थिएटर इतनी सारी कि मैं माचिस की तीली से लेके बुर्ज खलीफा तक बेच सकता हूँ. बस मुझे मौका चाहिए वो कि मैं कहाँ फिट होके उसको इम्प्रोवाइज़ करके मतलब ज्वाइन कर सकूँ सीमलेसली तो नहीं होता है, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. इट्स मतलब 10 में से एक आध हो जाता है कि पता नहीं चला यार. बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इन टुडेज टाइम थोड़ा अगर फोर्स फिट भी है फिर भी ऑडियंस रिलेट करती है. क्योंकि वो भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें नहीं फिट होती उनकी लाइफ में, फिर भी वो कर रहे होते हैं. सो दे फील इट. कमेंट आ जाता है कि नहीं हो रहा है फिर भी कर रहा है ये. सो आई थिंक स्टिल इट इज़ रिलेटेबल एंड दे बाई इट कि हाँ चलो ये ठीक है, इट्स अ ब्रांड वीडियो.
Yeah, but like, so in my experience, I have seen most of your branded content that just comes organically on my feed as compared to a lot of other creators whose branded content seems very forced.
Can you please tell this to other brands also? No, I try. I really hard.
You do a great job at that, to be honest. I have seen a lot of creators and they really don't, or I don't know if it's their issue or it's the brand mandates.
No, it's also my team. My manager fights for me and he मतलब वो convince करता है वो भी brand को कि नहीं, please listen to खुशाल. और ये हम बीच का रास्ता ढूंढ लेते हैं क्योंकि पैसे तो मुझे भी चाहिए. तो वो हो जाता है मतलब.
Yes. Aditya, what indicators help you all understand whether the creator is driving real impact and not nowadays not just views or likes for that matter?
So, see, you know, everyone is speaking of that. You know, platform is changing, attention is reducing, media is fragmented. All these, let's call it as an algorithm, which is changing and it is changing faster, right? So, brand needs to evolve if you know you have to push that envelope further, right? So, yes. Vanity metrics is something which is there, part of my you know dashboard, which I keep on looking at it, whether cost optimization is happening or not. I go one step further and see that, okay, what's the earned value which your total campaign is bringing on the table, all right? So I will not look at a particular creator you know and say that, hey, whether the you know the index has moved or not. I will look at a campaign as to campaign has delivered the conversation, campaign has delivered the virality, not a virality, but let's say conversation point of view. If that has moved, the campaign has delivered well. So I'll call it as an earned media, so to say. If that has moved for a brand, then it has done a pretty credible job. I think everyone is talking about it, which is like a story arc or being a disruptor in the cluttered category. Yes, that is something which each creator brings to the table. So you try and see that each creator which comes into the fold, what is if it's a reel, what is the completion rate? So we directly go, we ask the either the rep partner or the creator themselves is like, okay, what was your last video which you had made? What's the completion rate? What's your average completion view rate your consumer, your followers are, or you are bringing to the table, so to say, and then try and see that how differentiated a particular creator is versus the other, and then take a call. So these are little heightened metrics which we try and bring it onto our dashboards and see that one creator versus the other. But in campaign after campaign, my metrics is like what is the total earned media value each campaign is bringing on the table. So yeah.
But a follow-up to that. Do you think sooner or later influencer marketing is going to be pure play, affiliate, or performance in that sense?
No, platform is not going to make them as an affiliate, so to say. It's going to keep on evolving. We have seen how I was talking about these metrics. Think about it. In last 3 months, community came like in last 1 year, so to say, right, guys? Then now a repost is there. So apart from shares and saves, now repost has come. All these are engagement-led metrics which the platforms are bringing to the table. YouTube has started saying this, that, hey, Reels is for Meta, let me bring Shorts. YouTube is optimizing Shorts because what Ved was mentioning, that, Google search is not the only place where people will go and type about the brand. It is going to get discovered on these platforms. So platform will keep on making it interesting. Creators are here who are going to keep it disrupting. Brands needs to take it, understand, saying this, that okay, what this particular media will do good to their media plan. So I feel that in my media plan, influencer was sitting at a burst of a campaign here and there. Now it's a line item which I follow through in every media plan. So yeah, that's been the change. So it is going to be pretty interesting for platform, for audience, for creators and brands. Yeah.
Thank you. Very well said. Suruchi, according to you, how does pop culture influence the way you choose creators today? And also pop culture is like sort of there for very short duration, right? To quickly integrate into the campaign. How do you think that influence and eventual acceptance work with brands?
तो पॉप कल्चर का डेफिनेशन बहुत अलग होता है सबके लिए. For some, probably the pop culture can be translated or articulated as the language you are talking to the consumer, probably the kind of content they are consuming. So the culture for probably you can be different, the culture for me will be different. Depends on what I am offering to the consumer. Say for example, Tejas has a dance audience, right? So the kind of culture that his audience will be following will be very different. And we have a product company, so the kind of audience and the culture that our consumers will be having will be very different. So it is very important first of all to understand कि आपके audience का क्या culture है, right? Second, that culture is going to evolve. So you have to evolve as a brand, as a creator you will have to evolve. Say for example, if there's a very short-lived trend, right? We will have to evaluate that trend and ride on that wave. Probably that trend might stay for 3 days or that trend might stay for 3 months. So understanding that and riding on that is very important firstly. But I think so understanding the consumer and the relevance of that pop culture in your audience is probably more relevant for us.
I mean, one of the most recent pop culture element I see is, one day in Pakistan as a spy, right? And that kind of content pieces, like, they go so viral so fast, and
Yes.
it's very important for brands to sort of associate with that kind of culture, right?
Yes. So that is probably trending for today, right? Probably will stay another month because I think so. जब तक धुरंधर trend कर रही है तब तक I think so that trend is going to stay. But apart from that, definitely brands should ride on that. Definitely creators should ride on that, and I think so. Apart from that, there will be long-term trends as well. We recently did a campaign with Tanya Mittal. She's a big ex-Big Boss celeb, right? The kind of engagement that we've seen on that trend is probably बहुत छोटे टाइम में बहुत ज़्यादा रील्स हमें उसके ऊपर engagement दिखा. Probably if it would have been a different time, we might not have received that kind of traffic on that. I think so. Again, the time where you choose and the time you deploy the communication, it also changes the relevance of culture.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
To Ved, where do influencers add real value in consumers' digital commerce journey? Like, is it like just your consideration or top of the funnel, or would you say for your specific portfolio of brands?
I think it's, as I've said, the awareness to consideration, purchase, loyalty, all of it is kind of collapsed and all of it is relevant. Potentially for different brands in the portfolio, one could be indexed higher than the other. For example, if you're launching something new, obviously the indexing would be higher on awareness and engagement, right? So we just recently launched Biscoff, for example. We did a massive influencer activity. I mean, you would see that we've painted the town red across multiple cities, and also reflects back on what we do with influencers, and that's linked back to commerce, so to speak, right? So awareness essentially is the primary motive for something that we launch, but also how does it track back to commerce is very critical that we close. But for example, if we take any other brand in the portfolio, like Bonvita, for example, it's more around consideration, right? So indexing more on the health benefits of not health benefits, I would say nutritional value of Bonvita, and then how mom influencers can really drive that, right? So, and there could be potential opportunities within the purchase link, right? On the purchase loyalty side. And coming back to moments or popular culture, you already have a calendar. Indians love calendar, right? Marketeers love calendar. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, India Pakistan Day, everything is locked in the calendar. So all agencies, marketeers already know what days we want to promote what aspect, right? So these are mini micro moments that you're already are aware of, right? So whatever fits, like Valentine's, for example, silk is a great fit, and hence we already start working on something specific around that micro event. And that really works from a commerce angle as well, right? Because if you're creating content around it, which is very specific, is dovetailing back into brand comms and then link back to commerce, it really works. So I would say through and through for all touch points in the funnel, but depends on the purpose and the stage of where the brand is. Yeah, I would say.
Got it. To Harsh, with creators playing such a big role today, how has working with them changed the way advertising tells believable brand stories?
I think it's all about co-creation. I think as agencies, years ago you'd be like, it's my way or the highway, right? Now it's about being more open and collaborative, right? Within the creative department, we've always been collaborative, but now it's about being comfortable with the ownership, being co-ownership rather than pure ownership, And I think somewhere there's a fine line as well where you don't lose your role of being a brand guardian, right? Creators come and go. They have to also maintain their own brand essence, if you will. As creatives, our job is to make sure we marry the brand's standing and also the authenticity of the creator, or you lose the magic you're meant to be creating through it. You know, if you look at, I just want to touch on Thurandar to the earlier question, right? That all the creator stuff that happened around it was beautifully orchestrated. It wasn't organic virality. It was all planned, right? If you just look at it, they took that scene of Akshay Khanna walking in and look at all the memes. It's all relatable. Walking into the office like I'm about to resign. Walking into, they've literally hit on every nerve that someone right now is feeling and turn that into consideration. Go, I want to go watch that movie, right? Without telling you to go watch the movie. Right? And I think that's while you didn't see individual creators coming on camera and talking, the product is the movie. And they turned that into something where everyone's talking about. What they did was they got talkability in. They got everybody talking about it. And now everyone doesn't mind going and spending 3.5 hours going and watching the movie. You know, whether it's long or short, it's done its job of, you know, and yes, a lot of people are coming out saying the acting was phenomenal, everyone was outdoing each other, etc., etc. But also something unexpected happened, right? There were enough actors in there, and the one you'd expect to be at the front of everything wasn't the one at the front, right? So you were breaking the doom scroll as well. You were breaking people's expectations without telling them you were, you know. And I think that's also, coming back to the question you asked me, is the perfect combination of how content that's made outside for the product can actually become consideration as well, and not just awareness.
But that balance is a bit too tricky to really, you know,
I think it comes back to confidence. If you're confident in your brand and you're confident in your instinct and your judgment, you know, that's what it comes down to. And, you know, often what happens is, you know, we get very nervous on, does the logo have enough time? Does the product have enough time? Am I saying all the things I have to say because I'm spending this much money on it? You know, there are enough factors that make us nervous. If we can have that conviction and not, and I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy at all. It's easy for a creative guy to say that, but I'm sure on the brand side, it's not as easy because you have to validate. The whole data thing has made you now make everything black and white, right? And, you know, there has to be a factor of risk-taking, you know, and in some markets, risk-taking is celebrated. In some markets, risk-taking is not celebrated. You know, you are answerable for every dollar or rupee that you spend. And I think sometimes early success allows you to do more of it, you know. Success comes with permission to do it more and more and again. And, you know, one failure, and as a marketer or as a creative, you would be just going, let me just play it safe. I still need my salary. Yeah. It's like, Khushaal, we all need our paychecks, right?
We have a little time, so I'm going to just ask all of you to just give me in one sentence, right? So we have 3 creators here and 4 or 3 from brand side, and I want all of you to just tell me one thing. Like, so creators, if you had to tell brands in one sentence that that says that give me this creative freedom for my audience, right? So give me that one message that you want to tell to brands. One sentence.
There is much more than what you see behind the connection between the creator and an audience. I just have one sentence.
And you, Ishika?
I think content comes through practice, and we know content.
Brands would disagree, but Khushaal, what would you say?
I'll say कि तुम मुझे freedom दो, मैं तुम्हें reach दूंगा.
Best said. And for all the brand managers here, you guys have had a lot of experience with creators. What is that one thing you want to tell them to ensure that approvals are quick, right? One message.
We should think long term. You know, it is not about one reel. We should think that, okay, when the collab is happening between brand and the creator, you should think a little more. That will be my POV.
guys will be sharing an audience. Let's collaborate on the content together.
I'll go with the common theme for the day, right? Which is, the brand brings authority, and the influencer gets authenticity, right? So I think the marriage of a brand and influencer can only happen when the two meet, authority and authenticity.
And Harsh, for you, creatively speaking, how would you say that both should marry? Because I think you and I are on the same boat here.
I always say, let us break the algorithm.
Ah.
Like, otherwise, you'll stay in the doom scroll bubble. You know?
Fair. Thank you, guys. Today's conversation has made one thing clear, that trust isn't built through perfect content or flawless metrics. It's built through consistency, cultural understanding, and respect for the audience. Creators earn that by staying real, brands earn the trust by staying aligned, and audiences reward the trust with loyalty. Thank you all for being part of this discussion, and thanks to all the panelists. Thank you.